Sound of Scripts presents 3 scenes from the feature film Efficiency, written by Matthew D Riffle, Zackary D Hill, and Joshua P Riffle. We're inside the first junction. It's days later. The tired and disheveled Brian approaches the junction. He slaps a hand on the screen, and the dice tray extends. Brian absently throws the dice into the tray. 1 and 5. His finger hovers over the flashing cursor. He smirks and enters 4 on the screen. Brian waits for a moment. Nothing happens. He snorts derisively and walks to the hallway, but the door isn't open, and the tray remains extended from the pillar. Brian returns to the pillar and tries to push the tray, but it doesn't move. The number 4 begins to flash. A deep grinding noise emanates from the pillar, and the 4 flashes red. Brian's eyes go wide in panic. He places his hand on the screen, and the pillar vibrates. Brian taps the tablet again and again, freaking out. The floor shakes. Brian stumbles. He falls against the pillar, and the 4 disappears. The cursor flashes. He enters 6, and the shaking stops. The tray recedes. And the door opens. He runs to the next junction. We enter a montage sequence. Curtains open with a blue mist. Curtains close with a green mist. Brian wakes, urinates, walks his route, masturbates, and falls asleep. Occasionally changes clothes, eats, drinks. He's increasingly sloppy, tossing clothes directly onto the floor in his room, or sleeping in them, urinating directly into the corner of the restroom. He becomes a drunk toddler. He crosses the days off the calendar, rolls dice. He walks his route, eats alone at a big table, bowls. He drinks his restorative blue drink. He passes out. In the restroom later, Brian, in a bathrobe today, absently enters an immaculately clean and unusually large restroom. He places the tablet on a small wall shelf before turning back to the main room, where, to his surprise, he sees a pair of legs beneath a closed stall door, pleated khakis and black dress shoes. Brian plays it cool, goes to a urinal, looks at the mirror over his shoulder, watching the legs.
Hello there. I didn't think there was anyone else in this sector.
Silence.
I'm Brian. I've been here for a few weeks now. Did you just start?
Brian zips up, moves in front of the stall door.
Sorry, I'm being rude. I just haven't talked to anyone in person in a long time.
A strange sound, like fabric on ceramic, answers. Brian squats to look under the door, but the legs are gone.
Everything all right in there?
He touches the door. It swings open. The stall is empty. Brian backs away, grabs the tablet, and rushes out. In his suite, moments later, Brian returns to his room, visibly shaken. He absently places the tablet on the dresser and sits down on the bed, when the old man's face appears on the wall. Brian jumps up.
Good evening, Brian. I just wanted to check in with you. How are you adjusting?
Did I do something wrong?
No, of course not.
So this isn't about the incident at the first junction?
Was there an incident? Did you do something you want to talk about?
No, just made a mistake. I caught it in time, but...
Yes, Brian?
Just not... I'm pretty sure I saw someone.
Not likely. You were the only one in that sector.
I saw someone's legs in the bathroom, under the stall door. I wasn't looking. I just saw some legs and... Who was it?
The old man's face briefly disappears.
I believe I have found the answer.
What's his name?
Automaton.
What?
Diagnostics show there was no one there. What you saw was likely one of our automaton, likely servicing the area when you stumbled upon it.
Wearing khakis?
Would naked skin have been less alarming? Like all puppet masters, we dress and design with an audience in mind.
I guess that makes sense. But where did it go?
The system likely aborted rather than disturb you. I apologize for not mentioning the possibility of these types of encounters earlier.
Brian sits again.
So, I'm still all alone.
Yes, but you've been doing exceptionally well and have passed the first marker.
First marker?
6 weeks. It's quite the accomplishment, as I'm sure you would agree.
Brian glances at the calendar.
I still have 2 days left.
The old man nods.
Yes, but your vitals have shown a great deal of stress, so we thought it best to celebrate a little early, so as to help you relax.
On cue, the door to Brian's room opens, and a beautiful woman walks in. Brian is stunned.
Please accept our gratitude.
The woman wears only a nightgown.
She is also an automaton. You may call her Gloria.
The woman seductively approaches Brian, and he retreats as much as the room will allow.
I'm married.
The woman removes her seafoam green nightgown. Brian looks away from her nude form. Automaton or not, she's perfect.
I am not a person.
She is nearly upon him.
I'm sorry, I can't. I won't.
Gloria stops where she is, as if waiting for some unheard command, and then retreats. She turns and, still nude, walks out the door without another word.
All apologies, Brian. We misread the situation in our hopes of helping you feel appreciated and less alone. Please forget this transgression and have a pleasant evening.
The old man disappears, and the wall returns to normal. Brian collapses on the bed in exhaustion and confusion. The smoky green mist of the aromatherapy sleeping aid drifts through the air vents.
Not tonight.
If anything, more mist begins to pour in.
I said, not tonight.
Speech slurring as he turns over, overwhelmed by the sleeping agent. He can't fight it. He struggles to keep his eyes open. Is that Gloria standing in the doorway? Brian's eyes close. Black. We're inside Brian's suite. Daytime. Blue mist dissipates, curtains open, and Brian wakes with a start. Alone in his bed, the seafoam green nightgown still lying on the floor. In the restroom of his suite, Brian masturbates into the nightgown. Later still, in the restroom, he tries to flush the nightgown down the toilet. It begins to overflow, but as with the urine on the floor, it autocorrects, absorbs everything, and returns to normal. We're in a hallway. It's later. Brian slowly walks down the hallway, lost in thought, tablet in one hand highlighting his path. He's starting to unravel, and it's showing. He jumps at his own reflection, punches his reflected face, shakes his hurt fist, then jumps again as something rushes past the next corridor. Brian stops, rubs his eyes, checks the tablet for any indication of what he may or may not have seen. Nothing. He returns to his routine, tries to open the door leading to the next junction point. It's locked. He shakes the handle. Please proceed to new junction. Brian looks at the tablet, a new route, a part of the building previously unavailable to him. We're in the new hallway. Brian slowly moves down a darker hallway. The overall design of the hallway is identical to the others, with the notable exception of the lights failing to automatically illuminate. He is walking towards a light in the distance. The tablet identifies a room labeled Junction Alpha on the map. Brian is so focused on the room ahead that he almost misses a light being turned on in a room he just passed. He turns in time to see a man, tall, blonde. They make eye contact briefly. Pale eyes, almost white? Blue? Before the man disappears through a different door. Brian tries the door to the room. Locked, and the light turns off. A sound from the tablet gets his attention. A timer counting down. He rushes to the new junction room. We're inside Junction Alpha. As Brian enters, there's the same timer counting down on the wall. Beside 2 columns, a series of images and a set of words. Please match the items into pairs. Brian can't help it. He laughs at the situation, at himself, at his brief excitement for something new. He matches the word, apple, with an image of an apple. His laughter becomes sobs. Tears accompany clown and clown. We enter a montage sequence. Blue mist, curtains open. Brian wakes, still dressed. He adds dice, he marks squares, he matches animals. Brian sits on the edge of the bed as the sun sets. The curtains close. The green mist surrounds him. He passes out. He uses a watermelon as a bowling ball. He pees in the soup. Brian sits in bed eating, surrounded by plates and bowls. Green mist as he takes a bite of chicken. He falls asleep on top of the half-eaten rotisserie. He dreams of Gloria, sees her disappear in a blue mist. Brian sits on the edge of the bed. All evidence of his eating have disappeared. He puts on clean clothes, tries to smile. We're in the hallway. It's daytime. Brian gives his reflection a thumbs up. Finger guns.
That's it, Brian. Fake it till you make it. Can't let her see you sad, Bri. Put on the brave face.
Back in his suite, later, Brian sits on the edge of the bed, his hair wild and his eyes strained with fatigue. He holds the calendar. Check-in day. The tablet beeps on the dresser. Brian, it is time for your monthly call. I have dialed Miranda.
Hey, you. Hello? Brian, are you there? I think you've got it pointed at the ceiling or something.
Brian.
Hello? Who's there?
Brian finally snaps out of it and picks up the tablet.
Hey, how are my girls doing?
Miranda smiles, relieved.
Girls sound pretty convinced. Know something I don't?
Hopeful, maybe.
Well, we're doing just fine. Whoever we are.
Brian stares blankly. A dumb smile. Fake. She notices.
And how are you? Don't take this the wrong way, but you've looked better.
I'm okay. Fine. Good, actually.
You're a liar, is what you are.
She smiles gently.
I know. I'm sorry. I feel lost. I don't understand what happened. And I don't trust myself anymore.
It's okay to be lonely. Homesick.
It's more than that.
He looks at the camera on the tablet.
I feel like I can't really say more. I just don't belong here. I want to come home.
Miranda looks at her husband with empathetic eyes.
I don't know what's real anymore.
This is real. You, me, our baby, and that's what's important. If you say you want to come home, you need to come home, then come home.
What if they won't let me?
I don't understand. What do you...
Forget I said anything. It's okay. I'm okay. Tell me something happy.
I thought maybe you would tell me something happy. I hear that congratulations are in order.
Brian is confused.
Congratulations?
The delivery guy said something about a first marker. 6 weeks.
Yeah, but wait. What delivery guy?
The one that delivered the package you sent. You sure you're okay?
What package?
Your luggage and old clothes and a card with a nice note. You wrote that, didn't you? It's in your handwriting.
Yes, of course. I just forgot.
He said you might have another one coming soon.
Who? The delivery guy? What did he look like?
Miranda is clearly confused.
I don't know, like a delivery guy. Kinda tall, blonde hair, strange eyes, I guess.
Brian can't speak.
Is everything all right, Brian? What's going on?
I don't know.
Brian, you're scaring me.
Just be careful, okay? Do you hear me? Be careful. Let your mother know when you're coming and going.
My mother? What's going on? What are you talking?
I'm sorry. I have to go. I love you. I'll be in touch soon.
He turns the tablet off and slams it down on the dresser. The old man immediately appears on the wall.
Hello, Brian.
Whatever's going on, you leave her out of it. You hear me?
Brian, we've become concerned that the stress of the isolation is starting to take its toll.
Is that why you sent my clothes home? Are you firing me? Fine. When do I leave?
The old man smiles.
Quite the contrary.
The door opens and Gloria walks in, fully nude.
Unfortunately, this time, you don't have a choice in the matter.
Blue and green mist permeate the air. The mix of sleeping agent and enough blue to keep him somewhat conscious. At least the parts of his brain responsible for basic functions. Brian is unable to stand. He can't speak. His eyes follow as Gloria walks over and begins to pull off his clothes. He tries to push her away, but ultimately helps as much as he hinders the process.
Don't worry, Bri. Fake it till you make it.
Brian closes his eyes, wishes he was asleep. Fade to black. End of Act 3. You have been listening to 3 scenes from the feature film Efficiency, written by Matthew D. Riffle, Zackary D. Hill, and Joshua P. Riffle, with performances by Gideon Emory, Autumn Withers, and TJ Ramini, produced by Joshua Archer, and presented by Sound of Scripts. To learn more about Sound of Scripts, please visit soundofscripts.com.